Hello, in today's video I figured we would do, if I could only keep 10 palettes, maybe more, what palettes would I keep? So that's what we're gonna do today. So if you enjoy that kind of content, make sure you stay tuned. Oh, hello my friends. Welcome, new or returning. So glad you're here. Appreciate you being here. In today's video, we are doing all about palettes. I love eyeshadow palettes. Any chance I get to speak about them, yes, I'm more than excited to do that. So if I could only keep 10 eyeshadow palettes, we're gonna do that, and I'll show you the 10 that I would keep. But I also, when you have as many palettes as I do, it's really hard to narrow it down that far. So I'm gonna do the 10 and then the top 20 if I could only keep 20. So yeah, I'm cheating a little bit, but it's really hard to narrow this down. So if you do like this kind of content though, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below, turn on all notifications. Otherwise, let's just get right into the video. All right, so I'm not really going to go in any specific order, but I will divide up like the top 10 and then the top, you know, the other 10 for the top 20. So I will at least do that, and then, you know, so you can see kind of my thoughts on this. All right, so starting here, I'm just gonna, like I said, go down and tell you some of the ones. One here that just has sentimental value to me and I will never ever declutter is Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels. Oh, Mel Thompson, we miss you, girl. But yeah, so this is an absolute keep. The formula, number one, I just love Sydney Grace. Number two, I love the content creator that helped develop this. Collabed with them, and yeah, and she will forever be missed, and so this will stay around forever. Even if I can't use it, it'll still be in my collection. So, and some of these I might do some swatches, that kind of thing, but I know I've shown this before. I did a whole review on it, so if you want to see specifically swatches, I'll link that video down below. So another palette, I mean, I'm sentimental, guys. I just can't help it. That's just me. It's who I am. I have Sigma, the Alice in Wonderland collab palette. So pretty. I've explained in one of my videos here recently too, this definitely has sentimental value. A friend of mine, she calls me Alice from Alice in Wonderland. So there's a whole story behind that. But anyway, so this has sentimental value. I love Sigma's formula. So this would definitely stay in my collection. In that palette, I mean, just look at that. Look at that packaging. It's amazing. Anyway, so yeah, that's definitely staying. Next, we have Huda Beauty's Rose Quartz palette. Out of her palettes like this is my absolute favorite. I love the formula. I love the textures in here. The color story is just gorgeous. It's just all me. So I would definitely, absolutely keep this one. And just to show you some of these shades, like this here called Cosmic Love. Sorry, trying not to. That one is gorgeous. Love this shade. Even this shade here called Blissful right here. Oh, such a beautiful shade. So again, just to show you those real quick. So pretty. Oh, I mean, look at that shine. Look how pretty that is. And even her mattes are really nice. Only one I don't really get down with too much is this weird Lovestone formula, that like jelly kind of formula. That one I don't get down with, but other than that, love the rest of the palette. It's gorgeous. Sorry if I look green on this side. Right next to me is a bunch of trees, and every time it's like sunny, the reflection from the green leaves tends to, yeah, so that's why I look green or yellowish on this side. Sorry about that, but there's not much I can do other than close the blinds, and I want the natural sunlight. So anyways, but yeah, so there's a couple of those. Very pretty. Love that palette though. Another one here, NARS, the Climax palette. I just love this palette. I love the size of the palette. I love the color story of the palette. I love the textures and the formulation, and just how good quality this is. So this is definitely one that I would keep if I could only keep 10. So that's an absolute keep. Another one that I would keep here, and again, this is if I want to really play with textures and colors and like just get that like shifty kind of thing. Clionadh Cosmetics, the Dragon Fruit palette. If anybody does like multi-chromes, duochromes, you know, textured shades, iridescent shades, topper shades, if anybody does it, Clionadh Cosmetics does it. They're an indie brand, of course, but this would be like my special palette, like to make other, you know, looks pop, or like to really change the look and feel of it, of a, you know, eye look I'm putting together. That's one I would definitely grab for. So that would definitely stay in my collection. Another one that would absolutely stay in my collection is the ABH Norvina Volume 5. And I keep sorry, so I said it wrong in that video, but it's definitely Volume 5 that I would keep. This palette is gorgeous. It just gives me all the feels. If you're somebody like me that loves purples, this will give you all the purples you could ever want. But yeah, but again, it's still neutral enough. Like there's enough neutral colors, but these textures in here, the colors, the formulation, there is, I think, a pressed glitter right here. D2, I think, is a pressed glitter, but I mean, out of 30 shades, however, I think it's 30 shades. 1 or 25, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25, sorry, 25 shades. But yeah, these purples in here and just the textures and colors are just phenomenal. So I love this palette. I will definitely be keeping this palette if I can only keep 10. Next, a newer one to me, but it is all the rave, and I would absolutely keep this if I could only keep 10, is the Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. I just talked about this recently as well. I've talked about it probably nonstop since I've got it. But I love this palette. If you love neutrals, but you want just a little pop of color, or like a, you know, neutral, just with a little flair, this is definitely your palette. This is your girl right here. She is gorgeous. The textured shades in here, metallics, this kind of things, oh, they are beautiful. And the lasting power is just awesome on that as well. So I would definitely keep that if I could only keep 10. Another one that I would keep that is newer to me is Natasha Denona, My Dream palette. I just really like this palette as far as the color story. Again, it's not just all one look. You can get some variation there, but it's got cool and warm tones, neutrals. It's just got a nice variety, and I love Natasha Denona's formula, so I would definitely keep this palette if I could only keep 10. Another one I would keep here, unfortunately it was limited edition, you can't get it anymore, but is Kaleidos, the Club Nebula palette, in collab with Angie Nyquist here on YouTube. I think she did an amazing job with this palette. I think the color story is just a beautiful, the quality is there, it's gorgeous. This is just a gorgeous palette, and definitely one. And the packaging is just so cool. It's just such a cool design. I really like this one. So that would definitely stay in my collection if I could only keep 10. And then the last one that I would keep if I could only keep 10, Pat McGrath. You know, I had to throw a Pat McGrath in here. This is the Mothership 1. The reason I chose this one is because of how cool toned it is. Now, a lot of my palettes are like neutral, maybe slightly warm. There are, you know, maybe a couple that are a little bit cooler tone, but if I want a cool tone palette, I'm definitely going to reach for this one. So I think that's just unique in hers, because I think she does so many warm palettes, you know what I mean, warm color stories, that if I could only keep one, it would definitely be this, and you still get some of the special shades. So yeah, this would definitely be one I keep if I could only keep 10 of my, you know, out of my many. I'm not gonna say how many. Check out my declutter video and you will see just how many palettes I have. So yeah, so definitely check those out. Part 4, I talk about how many palettes I own. All right, so that is the top 10. So again, in my huge, crazy, outlandish collection, it would be hard for me to just keep 10. So I'm going to show you 20, because that's still only like a small percentage of the amount of palettes I have. So if I could only keep 20, these are the next 10 that I would keep in addition to the ones I just told you about. And again, these won't go in any certain order either. And some of these are just some other brands that I would love to be able to keep that I do really like. So yeah, some mixture in here. Let's see, for one palette here, I've got Sydney Grace. This is one that came out around Valentine's Day time, I think. The Be Mine palette. That makes sense, yeah. But I really like this palette. I love the color story. I love Sydney Grace's metallic formula. Even her mattes are just superb. And this is definitely one I would want to keep to be able to reach into some colorful, you know, get a little bit of color. You got greens in there, you got purples, pinks. You got some, you know, neutral tones in there, but this is just a gorgeous palette, and I would definitely reach into this. So, I mean, just to show you this, some of these metallics, because they are just amazing. I'm going to show you Baby Cakes here, which is more of like a bronzy shade. Show you Cupid here, which is more of like a purple shade, and then show you this green one here called Eye Candy, just to give you just an idea of how gorgeous her metallics are. I mean, they're just beautiful. They perform well, they wear well. Sorry, that one I got right over my bone there, so it's a little... But yeah, her metallics are just amazing. I just love the formula. And like I said, even her mattes are good. I'll show you a matte here. Like, you know, some brands have a tough time doing like darker mattes, but that's like her matte here. Again, not my best swatch because of the finger I'm using, but yeah, just beautiful, beautiful. Love her formula. Love Sydney Grace. One of my favorite, like just, you know, just more everyday type of person indie brand. So if you just, you know, looking for just something other than ABH, Anastasia Beverly Hills, other than Urban Decay, other than some of your other, you know, mainstream everyday, you know, person type of companies, then I definitely highly recommend Sydney Grace. All right, another one here, Natasha Denona, the Glam palette. Now I do love my more cool tone palettes, so this is definitely one I would keep to get my cool tone. It's still got some neutrals, but a nice array of cool tone looks that you can get out of this palette, so I would definitely keep that one. Another one I would keep here, company, another indie brand, Glam Light. This is the Chocolate Martini palette. Came out in there, I think it was the Happy Hour collection. But this is like your, again, neutral eyeshadow wearers with a little bit of pop of color. So this is a beautiful palette. These metallics are just gorgeous. That's definitely one I would keep. Another indie brand here, Simply Posh, Picking Peonies. This color story just really speaks to me. You've got some greens in there. These greens are gorgeous. You've got your pinks. It's just a nice array of colors. And then this middle row is all duochromes, and then your mattes, like lighter and darker shades on the top and bottom. But if I had to keep any of the Simply Posh, I think I would keep this one because you still get some duochromes, but you also get some matte shadows as well. So I think that's a nice mix. All right, next we have Pat McGrath. This is one of the Mothership Mega palettes. It's last year's, the Celestial Odyssey. Now don't get me wrong, I really like this year's palette, nothing against it, but this one really spoke to me. I like, for me, I have so many other mattes, and I like metallics and shimmer shades like more than I like mattes. I mean, I like mattes, you need mattes to make a look, you know, to finish up a look, but I really like my metallic shades. So for me, this just had more metallics and a nice array of colors. This green here is gorgeous. All the colors are gorgeous. This is a nice taupey shade. That's beautiful. This like pinky shade. I mean, they're just gorgeous. So again, you don't have very many mattes, but with all my other palettes, I could definitely find mattes in there. So I just like how shimmer heavy this palette is. So I would pick that one over this year's just because of that, but they're both nice palettes. All right, next, unfortunately the whole brand is gone, but Toddy Beauty, the Textured Neutrals Volume 1, I would absolutely keep this palette. Yeah, I love her. You know, this is one of the few like glitter shade types that I like. The base in here is really, really nice. They set down nice. You don't have to worry about a bunch of like glitter fallout. I mean, there might be a little bit, but not bad. But I really love the formula of her glitters. But yeah, just such a pretty color story, such good quality. I wish she would have been able to come out with like a volume 2, maybe more cool tone palette. So sad, but anyways, but I would definitely keep that palette. Absolutely. Another one I would absolutely keep is another indie brand, Adept Cosmetics, the Heather Austin palette. She did an amazing job. Heather Austin here on YouTube. She did an amazing job on this palette. It is gorgeous. And I mean, I know it's a little bit scary. You see like, oh, look at those greens, whatever. You take those last 4 shadows away. It's just beautiful. Beautiful, mostly like pinks, purples. These shifty shades are just gorgeous. But even with the greens, I mean, if you're somebody like greens and yellows, I mean, you could definitely use that. Actually, just these 3 shades because that color is really pretty too. Anyways, but yeah, I love this palette. Gorgeous. Another indie brand that I really recommend you check out if you can, if you ever get a chance. Let's see, another one that I would definitely keep, Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Nouveau palette. I love this palette. Oh my gosh. And there was a leak of Natasha Denona's newest palette, or a palette, her MIDI retro palette. Apparently she made like another version of it because everybody was so just upset that her, you know, MIDI looked nothing like the mini retro, and they were so hoping. This gives me some of the vibes from that. These greens in here definitely give me the retro, Natasha Denona retro MIDI vibes if she comes out with the palette that I saw. So anyways, but yeah, so I love this palette. It's gorgeous. One of my favorite ABH palettes overall. I would definitely keep that one. Another one I would keep here is Patrick Ta Major Dimensions Volume 2, the more rosy tone, the Rose Edit palette. I think this is a gorgeous palette. You know, if you do want the more rosy tones, you've got your cream shades under here, under that little lid there to keep those protected, but I think it's just a beautiful color story, great quality. I would definitely keep this one in my collection. So, and then the last, that I only really have one slot left, but I'm going to cheat a little bit because I like both of these and I can't decide which one to keep. But we have Blend Bunny Cosmetics, the Dollhouse palette. I love this palette. I think it's gorgeous. Just look at those tones in here. I think those metallics are just beautiful. I think they could have condensed this and made it a smaller. I'd love to see a little bit more curated palette, but I think it's overall just beautiful. And then kind of in with the same, just because I can't, we have Odin's Eye, the Hella palette with Angie Nyquist as well, collab. This palette is just gorgeous. If you are somebody who likes the, you know, like more grungy colors, I think you would just love this palette, but it's such good quality. I love Odin's Eye, so I would definitely recommend this palette. So yeah, sorry I cheated a little bit. It's actually 21, but you know, when you have as many palettes as I do, that's really not bad. So sorry. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Like I said, some of these that I do have swatches of, I will try to throw in. I just was trying to make this kind of quick. So, but yeah, the quality of these palettes, these are just some of my favorite palettes overall. If I lost my entire collection, these are definitely ones that I would want to replace. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Do you like any of these palettes? Do you have any of these? Have these been on your wish list? Do you feel the same? I'd love to know. Otherwise, if you do enjoy this content, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Turn on all notifications. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Bye. Hello and welcome. In today's video, I figured we would, with my palette cut edit. So I feel like I'm again out of frame. I'm always out of frame. I don't know why. Anyways, okay. I have Sydney, kept saying the wrong one, but it is definitely volume, wait, hold on. So I gotta take out this insert thing. I always forget about those. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just to make sure I'm not mixing up anything. Troll lover, where, you know, man, this outside's really making me look yellow. Hold on. Man, I love the outdoors, but like I can't be looking yellow now. That looks crazy. Okay, that looks a little better. Sorry. Anyway, I better close this other one too. I'm still getting a reflection there. Dang, I love the outdoors, but that's just looking crazy. I'm just like, man, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I look extremely yellow. Okay, anyways, that's a little bit better. All right, back to the video. Why do I still look so yellow? I don't know. Anyways, shimmer or another one I would absolutely, oh, I did it. I got through. All right. Not too bad. Oh, now just more editing, but at least I got some videos for a while here, so no matter what, I'm good. Okay, thanks guys. See you later. Bye.